not prevail against it. So the church is built on Jesus Christ, built on the Word of God. If a church doesn't preach the Word of God, doesn't practice the Word of God, I'd have a hard time recognizing them as a church of God. Because a church needs to preach the Word of God. They need to practice the Word of God. That's what a church is built on. That's what gives credibility. That's not a good word, but that's what a church, without that foundation, it's not a church. That's what Jesus said. He says, I'll build my church on myself. All right? And the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Now he says, this building that's on top of that rock, that's on top of that church, in whom all the building fitly framed together groweth up an holy temple in the Lord, in whom ye also are builded together for an habitation of God through the Spirit. Now in the Old Testament, God told Moses, let them make me a sanctuary that I may dwell among them, and I will be their God. Now that was in the Old Testament. In the New Testament, which New Testament church age is where we're living in today, Jesus said, we're not a physical house, we're a spiritual habitation. We're a spiritual house. Now, we meet in a physical building, but if this building burned down, the church here, the Bethel Missionary Baptist Church, would still be here. We'd just, I don't know, we'd meet out at Staten or something like that. We'd meet across the street at the Grange. We're still here. We're a spiritual habitation. And I say, we're going to church, or let's go down to the church. We're just talking about the building. It's like that little kids thing, here's the church, here's the steeple, all that. The people that God adds, that's what makes up a church. And God the Bible refers to Him as the wise master builder. God knows what a church needs. I don't know. You don't know. We might have ideas. Hopefully we're following the leadership of God to know what our church needs. But God knows if a church needs somebody, Brother Ron is bringing out, maybe somebody has a different, I hate to use this term, but a certain gift. Maybe they have a certain ability. Maybe they have a certain personality. Maybe they're just another set of hands, another set of feet. We all have hands and feet. We all have a mouth. We can all go door to door. And we can all speak the word. Right? God knows what a church needs, and He fitly frames. If one of these boards on the east side said, I want to be on the west side, it wouldn't have fit. It wouldn't have fit. But they fit so perfectly. I remember learning about that again. I heard that my whole life, and it never sunk in. And then you hear about how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Those boards were in such perfect unity. They didn't need nails. They didn't need screws. They didn't need, brackets. I billed my deck yesterday, and Julianne goes, well, how are we going to do about that? And I was like, oh, man, I messed up. Well, I guess I need to get some brackets. I'll go get the saw. We'll cut it. We'll make it fit. That's not how they had to do that. Just slipped it right into those sockets, and it was solid. Overlaid in gold. That's the other thing. There was no changing those boards once they got dipped in that gold. Right? Because that wood was preserved. It was unchangeable. That's how churches are. That's how they should be. They should be fitly framed, build it up together. A part of the building, a board laying out in the grass, laying out in the wilderness, just a board, what good is it doing? It's not doing any good. Right? But as a part of the building, even if you took just one board out of this wall, just one board, it would add stress to every other board. Even if it was just a few pounds per square inch. But you take another board out, another board out. That's why it is very important that we are in unity with the Lord, and then we be in unity with one another. All right. You guys have been very, very patient tonight. We'll finish up with this verse, Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 4. It says, there is one body and one Spirit, even as ye are called in one hope of your calling. All that means is there's one true type of church. God doesn't have 7 different types of churches. The Antichrist is going to somehow get Mormons and Catholics, Jehovah's Witnesses, and Muslims. I don't know how he's going to get the Muslims to do it, but he's going to. That's the one that gets me. I don't know how he's going to do it, but he's going to get them all to agree that they're all doing the same thing. They're definitely not. But I don't want to be associated with Christian religions. If the world is going to refer to, in World War II, you put on your dog tag if you were more Catholic or Protestant, but nowadays you can put this Christian. What does that mean? Right? All this means right here is there's one true type of church. There's one Spirit, even as ye are called in one hope of your calling. One Lord, one faith, one baptism. One God and Father who is above all, and through all, and in you all. There's one way of salvation, that's it. Verse 16, from whom, that's from God, from Jesus Christ, verse 15, from whom the whole body, fitly joined together and compacted by that which every joint supplieth, according to the effectual working in the measure of every part, maketh increase of the body unto the edifying of itself in love. Every part of the body is important. And God adds to the body, and He joins the body together. Again, we're back to this analogy of the body. The eyes, the ears, the knees, the ankles. Every joint supplies. Every body part adds something and benefits the rest of the body. And God knows. And you know what? That's why God tells saved people to take that light and put it on a candlestick, and it will give light to all the house. That's the will of God. Verse 25 here, wherefore, putting away lying, speak every man truth with his neighbor, for we are members one of another. That means that whatever we do affects one another. Hopefully it benefits one another. Hopefully it builds up one another, and hopefully we're a benefit to the body. But this is God. This is God's order. This is God's plan. Over and over. He's got letters after letters after letters, epistles, I should say, written to churches. Church is important to God. Churches are important to God. I believe that. I believe the Bible makes that very clear. It's where He dwells. It's where He communes with His children here on the earth. And, church is emphasized. Church membership is emphasized. And I'll say this one last thing. 1 Corinthians 6:19 says that we are not our own, but we're bought with a price. Right? Therefore, glorify God in your body. So, one mistake a lot of people make, and I've even thought this, it's my membership. Listen, this is the Lord's church, and it's not my membership to do with whatever I want to do with it. My membership belongs to the Lord, and I better use my membership to give Him pleasure and glory. So, let's go ahead and stand tonight.